see how. Oh, now we're back. We're live again.
Oh man, that was fast.
Woo,
there we
holy
go.
mackerel.
All right, and back in it.
Yeah, so we're test driving our new idea on manipulating the algorithm.
Yes,
because the kick-ass video intro that Tanner made makes Facebook think it's the same video every time.
Right.
Because it's always going to give a thumbnail of the front end.
There you go.
So we're trying something new.
I
think that is called the is that a cold open? I do believe in the world of production. Yeah, like a pre-open,
sure.
cold open. Yeah. Something.
I think it's supposed to. Yeah. All right,
dude.
Go.
Oh shit, we're here 2 weeks in a row, bro.
I know. This is amazing. We're back on track.
Perhaps consistency is our topic today.
Back on track.
It's not.
I love
though.
it. No.
So look at this. I just got again the mantra being: if you want coaching, kick-ass friends, and to actually learn, grow, prosper, thrive, all of that, build a studio, have a show.
Absolutely, or become a camera guy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, dude.
Like, you know, the smartest guy is the camera guy because he's getting paid.
That's true.
To like be in the room. Like we were at the John Maxwell thing. Like the camera guy, I'm like, dude, you're the smartest guy in this whole place. Like we all paid lots of money to come hang out, and you get paid. That's the smartest guy.
So that makes me the second smartest guy.
Second, and I am the least smart guy. But this is great.
But you're the full hot order, and you're the featured attraction.
Hey, I love it.
So this is the coolest thing here. So like. Not only did you get to hang out with, and you actually know, like, I'm John and I'm your friend.
Absolutely.
John Maxwell.
Yes.
So it's like, he's never said that to me. So John Maxwell doesn't know me, and he's not my friend yet. But, so like, dude, what does that look like as far as the actual moving parts or the situation where you come away with this?
Yeah. So I mean, it was so cool. So to be able to spend time with him, ask him unfiltered questions, and then basically I'm like, hey, here's all my notes.
Right.
Well,
so like this is not a Zoom call. This is not a Zoom call.
No. This is us hanging out in person, having the conversations, which is pretty amazing.
So where was this at?
What's that?
Where was that at?
This was in Atlanta.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So is he a Georgia guy?
So his headquarters is in Atlanta.
Okay.
And he lives most of the time, I think, in Florida. So he goes back and forth between Atlanta and
Florida.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Short commute. Good. Yeah. Okay. So now with his sort of retreat style thing, is it with a specific topic or like is there an end goal?
He has something specific that he shares, which is great. And then there's a lot of times too that he's just like, hey, ask me questions. And here's what's interesting about that is one of my mentors like 10 years ago said, hey, you never know who you're going to meet, so be ready. You should always have questions ready for the people that you want to meet. Right, so this is the conversation we had 10 years ago. So one of the things I did 10 years ago was literally write down a list of questions for people like her, for people like John Maxwell. Like I literally wrote a list. Obviously the questions have changed because it's 10 years later. Yet it was so crazy that 10 years ago I started writing down questions I wanted to ask John Maxwell, and here we are, full circle, being able to have the conversation.
That's cool. So apparently it needs to ripen, and then 10 years later,
absolutely,
you get to, and so
you should one of the points that I want everybody to get is you should always be ready for questions with questions. Right, for great people. I'm always amazed, and I don't mean this to sound egotistical, but I'm always amazed at how many questions I don't get. Makes it like, not that I'm the oracle of all knowledge, but I'm a badass strategist, and I have learned and am so connected that I'm amazed I don't get more questions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And one of the things that she taught me years ago was, hey, always be ready with questions. Have great questions written down. Questions are the little thing that unlocks big doors.
And it's interesting important. Where... So I had this experience last week, but in reverse, but theoretically, I'm in the position of like, oh, I got the brick and mortars, whatever, and it was a new affiliate to Metroplex who ostensibly is competition for us.
Okay.
But clearly the dude was like over 40, and so I'm like, okay, interesting thing to like pivot. So I was like, dude, swing by the studio because I was like, let's compare notes. I really just wanted to see what is it like. You ever have that where you see somebody that's where you were, say 10 years ago, and you're like, so dude, what's up? So like, what are you thinking? Like, you like it? Does this suck? Well, like, why do you do this? Just to kind of get their read on
teeth yet, like real hard, like where are we at? Like the progression,
right? And to look back and go like, what the hell was I thinking when I did that? And also, there's a thing that happened over time where I'm no longer worried about what somebody else is doing.
Correct.
And so I'm like, well, dude, like if you want to sing for your supper, this, and this is a good idea. If you want to pay to play and buy your way in, be ready when you get in there to have something to actually leverage your time and your money, and also be ready that when you stop paying, you're no longer invited. So the idea of you might want to make yourself valuable ahead of time on something that's
a huge lesson in and of itself.
Because my whole thing was, I've gotten to where we are now based on, I didn't just pay to be in the preferred vendor gimmick or whatever.
Correct.
And it's like, there's nothing wrong with that. And it will certainly get you in the room.
Yeah.
But like what you said, like, well, when you're in the room, have your
that's
questions
a good way
ready.
to start. And then you better build some relationships and that transcend beyond that.
Right. And you can't buy your way in the room with a transactional mindset and then succeed. Or at least that has been my observation.
Yeah.
I never tried that just because it seemed kind of cringe and it just seemed kind of jacked up. But I've never actually seen it work. I've seen those guys come in, they flare up and then they flame out.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're gone. Because there's no there.
Correct.
And so it was great just to be able to kind of blow his mind with like, so like, you like this? What are you doing? So like, do you want to have a team? And it's like, he's a photographer, and I'm like, so do you like, I don't know, this studio thing interested? And he goes, no, dude, I like take pictures. I'm like, interesting. Okay. So like, I don't necessarily like taking pictures, but I love the mechanics of the business versus like the creative side. The creative side is cool. And it's like, make no bones, it is absolutely a gift to have been lucky enough to be in a creative endeavor to where like, okay, those muscles get exercised by what I actually do for a living versus I'm trying to just, I don't know, like somebody's like, oh, this is my passion. You try to, square peg that into a round hole and make it a business. It's like, okay, that thing you loved is going to suck pretty soon.
Yes, absolutely.
And then also like the minute somebody criticizes it, especially when they're your customer,
that hurts.
Yeah. How do you take that?
Yeah.
And so now, whenever you're with a John Maxwell, like, what is the 2025 Wayne question?
So this year, so what's funny is I had a bunch of like, this is kind of like this thing Goggins thing that happens, right? Like I have these questions. They're like, these are great, right? Like how do you help like
you're going to impress, you're going to impress him with the caliber of your questions.
Exactly.
Yes.
You're not necessarily thinking that, but you're totally thinking that. You're like, I'm in a room with badass people. Like my question better be spot on, like some ninja shit question.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oxford Debating Society.
Right, exactly. Like how do you motivate someone when they're stuck here? How do you do this? Or, what's your, so I had all these questions going down. What's your favorite question to ask somebody? Whatever it is, right? All these questions. And then, it hits me that like I need to ask the question that I need to ask. Like I'm actually here for Wayne. You know what I mean? Right. Like I'm not necessarily here to impress people. Right. I mean, I'm actually here for me. And I think it was one of my friends was like, dude, what question do you need to ask? Like, do you need help with? I think it was Tyler. I can't remember who kind of helped reframe.
So Tyler went with.
No, we were just talking before.
Okay.
Yeah. And the question that's been the thing that's been bothering me is, and I'll just get real personal. This is several weeks ago. I was going through some old books and old journals, and I came across some goals I had written down like 3-4 years ago. And some of those goals were the exact same goals I still have.
Oh.
Meaning we have not achieved those goals, right? And it's like, oh, here we are 4 years later, same goals.
So now, how does that hit whenever you see that?
At first, it feels like shit. You're like, wow, you're awesome, right? Like you've progressed 0. That's cool, right? Like you want to take 10 steps and you still want to take like at first it feels shitty. Then I kind of caught myself a little bit, did some journaling, right, and going, okay, what did I do good in the last 4 years? What did I not do good? What would I have done differently? So I went through some of those questions to help kind of reframe me and get me back to, and I was able to kind of recenter myself and go like, yeah, some of these goals I have not hit and I'm still working on. Yet, hey, here's the list of things I did get. Also, there's a lot of areas I didn't lose ground in when my world was upheld.
Yep.
So I kind of had to go through all that and reset my goals and all that. But I asked John, I feel like in a lot of areas I'm doing great, right? Relationships are great. Friendships are great. Health is better than it's been in a really long time. Like all these things are good.
Svelte.
Spiritual, yeah. Skinny legend, as my daughter refers to it. And I'm like, hey, in business and financially, I feel really far behind.
Same. Now, I would say, what is the likelihood of somebody wired like we are ever feeling like it's good?
So here's his answer. Me too. And I'm like, holy shit, what do you mean you too? Like you're on the top of the mountain.
You're John fucking
like
Maxwell.
You've impacted more people and done more things and sold more books than anybody in the history, except for Jesus. I think Jesus maybe sold a couple more books, but pretty much, it's like Jesus, John Maxwell, and book sales. And he goes, man, I feel behind all the time. He's like, he goes, I didn't really start making money until I was in my late 40s, yada yada yada, right? And I was like, how interesting.
I'm feeling better by the moment.
It was so cool. And then two big things I got from it. One is his partner, one of the guys that owns a bunch of companies with him, says, he says, Wayne, I know your story, and he goes, can you imagine that you would have been in this room 4 years ago? He goes, 4 years ago, when you were going through it, would you have imagined you would be in this room today? And that was like a moment, because I was like, I didn't know if I'd be alive. Like, I didn't know how I was going to make it to next Tuesday 4 years ago, legitimately, sitting on first crying, going, I don't know what I'm going to do. Right. So like, that was such a huge moment of like measure the gain, not just the gap of where I want to be. So that was huge. And then the second piece of advice was, John talked a lot about this. He goes, if we today is brand new. If we won the Super Bowl yesterday, that was awesome. Celebrate the heck out of it, and then the day's over. Today's a new day. We better go win the next Super Bowl.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He goes, and on the other side of that, if yesterday we got our teeth absolutely kicked in, right? That sucked. That was sad, right? Like, lick your wounds. And today's a brand new day.
Take the L, move on.
Exactly. So those two things were really helpful for me. Just like getting that in perspective was awesome.
Well, and like I said, I'm feeling better by the minute. Where that would have been the answer I would have wanted to hear.
Yes.
But I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, somebody that you clearly look up to, idolize, respect, all of the positive attributes that you would stack on somebody, and then you're like, oh, he's exactly like me.
Yeah.
Or I'm exactly like, as far as that, I'm always fascinated too by the ones that are, it's never enough. I'm never done. And I heard this in one of my hustle porn feeds.
Keep going. I'm looking for one
where it was the people that are driven like that and that have that sort of mindset or whatever. It isn't because they have something you don't.
Right.
It's because they're broken in a way that other people aren't.
Yes.
And it's because they don't have something that you have.
Yes.
You being the, or like we would be like the royal we, where, okay, you've got the statistically normative population that's just work, family, job, vacation, like just a nice routine versus me where, I'm 13 years of workaholic bachelor and it's just like this, light the candle at both ends and burn the middle. And I've obviously transferred my alcoholism to workaholism. And which is better for everyone involved. At the very least, I'm now neutral to society versus a net minus. So there is that. But the idea that thinking there's something wrong all the time is a motivator, but to know that people that are objectively doing better.
Well, and I think there's two ways to do it. You can do it in the judger way, which is like, man, I could have done better. I'm a loser, right? I don't know what's wrong. But like, if you do it in a judger kind of way, it kind of like feels down and backwards. Like it's kind of like you get stuck in a pit.
You're punishing yourself for a lot of times too. It would be this internal monologue that is punishing and negative with no data to back it up.
And then it's like, I want to improve while feeling like crap. Like this is gonna be tough. So conversely, the other way is learner mode, and learner is like acknowledging, like, what did I not do great? What could I have done better? And what will I do next? Right? Like, what's tomorrow? Right? So I think like when you can go from judger mode to learner mode, like it feels like a little shift. It's massive.
It's massive, and the negative energy. It's terrible.
It doesn't serve you.
Right.
But well, let me say it differently. It did serve you for a little while. Like having high standards and going like, I'm not going to be beaten. I'm competitive like that. It serves us for a while. And then you realize, wow, I'm achieving, but I'm really beat up. So like, then you're like, it got me here, but I better do a new version.
And you being a hockey guy too, it's like one of those things where, life is not the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yes.
Where it's like you can have somebody in on a cup run where they have the nebulous groin injury, where it's like, and it's really their shoulder. Yeah. So they're lying about all of it, and they're getting injected and they're getting like stitched together and limping out. And but when it's over, it's like there's an off season.
Correct.
But like for what we're doing, there's no off season. No. So it's like if you're beating the shit out of yourself and trying to stitch it up, rub some dirt on it, and tell them it's your groin, but it's your shoulder.
That cadence is so important for that.
It's brutal.
Well, and here's the three things that ChatGPT pulled out of our conversation. Feeling behind and really wanting to regain peace. Said comparison steals joy, which we know. Yep. Comparing yourself to others will steal the
comparison is the thief of joy.
Progress restores it. Right, you gotta go get a win, go get some little wins. Stay in your lane, one day at a time, and priorities clarify pace, which was interesting. They also said, like, ask yourself every day these three things: Am I growing? Am I helping? Am I learning? And if every day you can say, I grew, I helped, and I learned, you're not behind. You're becoming.
Okay, that's awesome, and. Man, it's weird too because like human nature is when I hear that out loud, intellectually, I'm like, absolutely.
Right.
And then 5 minutes later, forget about that shit. I got stuff to do.
Yes.
You know, and that weird thing of the inner monologue that everybody seems to have where it's like, it's learned behavior. It came from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Nobody is born with that, especially in the critical sense where I'm always trying to, or I'm always feeling like there's something I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
There's something that I needed to attend to, and I don't know. So it just keeps this.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the entrepreneurial's curse in a sense, right? Because we're always afraid, like, what's the next shoe that's going to fall?
Yes.
So that's where you go, all right, go from general to specific. What am I actually concerned about? Do I need a scoreboard? Do I need a way of tracking that? Do I need to check in? Like build in those little things over time, because I think that feeling is part of our DNA in a sense. So it's like, hey, what do I do about that? And the more you can be specific with what's bothering you or what needs to be addressed, the better it can be.
So now, was there anything from 4 years ago, Wayne, that you were like, oh, dude, nailed it?
That
like when you saw your goals and you saw your old stuff.
Yeah.
Are you able to have critical one, like the angel and the devil? Is there a little bit there where you're like, oh, dude, I actually did better than I anticipated?
Yeah, I think I did better when my relationship, especially with my kids and my parents and my brother, like I love those. I did a really good job at getting way better at being clear and speaking my mind, and like I've got much better at being cleaner and clearer in life in general. I think which is really good. I'm proud of how I went through all that. And then there's a lot of good businesses. I mean, there's a lot of good in there. Absolutely.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so your inner critic, he's like maybe riding shotgun, or he might even be in the backseat.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
From time to time. Every morning I got to be like, Bob, I don't need you.
Right, yeah.
Love you.
Yeah. I know you're there.
Yep.
We'll holler if we need you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And even now, so like I'm very excited because over time there's this sort of like little deposits that you do. Kaizen, the small piece of improvement, like 1/10 of 1% of improvement every day compounds. And now to see some of that paying off and to be on a what feels like this. So like I just got the email this morning. The neon sign is getting ready to be shipped.
Oh, fun!
Yeah, so we'll have the mobile podcast gimmick.
Nice.
And so we'll end up doing something like that where we'll do this somewhere live, probably like at a realtor meeting or maybe like something at Metroplex. But like there, I'm excited about that because 2 months ago, it never even entered my mind,
right.
you know. And it's like you suit up, show up, and then, like you said, be learning and be adaptable. And then all of a sudden, you walk away going like, okay, didn't know that was a thing. Now it's a thing, and it's super cool. And now we're going to add that to the repertoire.
Absolutely.
As far as not being calcified.
Yeah. No, so good. And I think one of the things that's great for people to do right now, this time of year, like we have a big list of questions I go through with people. If you want the list, send us a message. But like we go through. But one of the things I have to do is like reflect on this last year, make plans for this next year, all those kind of things. But one of the pages in our planner is our Epic Life Planners. They write down their wins from the year. And it's like, it's great to acknowledge what were some of the wins, what were the little things. In school for now, it's also cool to be able to look back a year from now or 2 years from now, whatever, and see what those were.
Yes.
And I literally have to like scroll through photos sometimes to be like, I don't think I had any wins. And I'm like, oh yeah, we did that, we did this happened, right? Sometimes I get like triggered,
right?
Kind of.
Well, and I'm lucky in that the vast majority of what I do is recorded.
Yeah,
and so and so I have. On a certain level, it's empirical evidence, regardless of what I think about it in the moment.
Yeah.
When I look back and like now I've reached the realm of the Facebook algorithm where 10 or 11 years ago show up on my then and now. I'm looking back and it's like, 11 years ago, it's like something for NAR, teaching RPR or whatever. And I'm like, holy shit, like I'm in Abilene teaching RPR for NAR.
So crazy.
And I look at that and it's like, that really happened, and back then I thought like, what am I doing? What am I doing? This is crazy. And then that guy would not even
dream.
Oh yeah. He couldn't even wrap his head around imagining what I'm doing now. And then now to have just massive tons of content and, so the gals are doing a thing at Metroplex on December 1st. And it's like, Well, let's help promote that. So we're doing a thing next month we're going to recreate part of the podcast thing.
Yep.
And we're also going to promote their thing from December 1st.
Nice.
And it's like, they asked us to do the dog and pony show for the realtor meeting. And it's like, I would rather have them, the gals, promote their stuff that's like tangentially attached to me,
yes,
but has nothing to do with me.
Right.
So like all I got to do, me and Austin will show up and put all the gimmicks together. But turns out I like doing that as much, if not more, than I like doing the stuff where I'm in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But like now, don't get me wrong, this is like my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Is this, and especially since now it's become its own thing.
Yeah.
And our Instagram, like, dude, I have so many Instagram accounts that are the shows that everybody does, and so I feel like I'm a
just all day long.
Dude, I'm a teenage girl.
Perfect.
Like, I get all this validation, like constantly, all these dopamine hits, and I'm like, this is crazy. And then we got a couple of things working at the macro level with Keller Williams. That's very exciting,
cool.
and just to be able to be like, okay, suiting up and showing up works.
Yeah, it does.
And as long as I don't have to be married to the outcome.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I got the new furniture over there that'll be the mobile podcast set that 6 months ago.
Yeah. Well, the lessons are more important than the ideas, right? Like the lessons is more important than hey, that thing we planned, like did it work or didn't it work? Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Right. What are the lessons we learned along the way? So also we've got our strategic lab E4 and E5 coming up in a couple weeks.
Okay.
So we got a couple spots in E4 left.
Local?
It's here in Dallas, which is going to be amazing. And then I'm actually doing a 2-day coaches training in December. So if anybody's interested in becoming a better, more badass coach, not becoming a coach from day one, but becoming a more better badass coach, that's
okay.
coming up. So my questions for you and everybody else, I want you to ask these in the right now before we go too much further into the year. Do you have your reflections and your business plan ready? And then I want to know, what are the 3 things you want to get done between now and the end of the year? What are the 2 or 3 projects that you want to get done? Whether that's clean up the database, whether that is figure out the new funnel, create the thing, whatever it is. I think it's a great time of year where most people are going to have some downtime here and there. So it's what are the 2 or 3 projects that I really want to get done to create massive momentum going next year? So
dude, I love
what is it for you? What do you want to get done?
So the biggest thing is infrastructure.
Yes.
Because
so unsexy.
Oh, dude,
so needed.
It is so just banal. And
shout out to LG that's bringing so much infrastructure into my life right now. It's beautiful.
Well, and so it's like I have learned in a very scattershot kind of way there's the difference between delegate and just abdicate.
Yeah.
So turns out abdicating doesn't really help. It's like, oh, hey, here, this is your job. And then it's like I pretend that thing doesn't exist anymore. And so every so often I'll get questions from either like a VA or one of the team on the back end. I'm like, I don't know. Hey, so-and-so asked about this. And I'm like, okay, well, let me find out. Because it's like I would ask the same question.
Yeah.
And it turns out, so one of the things that I love is kind of growing the team and that whole sort of infrastructure so for example, we had somebody that put in the wrong square footage or whatever for a property for a shoot, and the VAs are asking hey, this, and I'm first off, this is terrible. My first thought was holy shit, they're double checking everything.
Yeah.
It's this is brilliant. It's instead of going to a 4,500 square foot house that we only charge for a 3,000 square foot house, they're actually
wow,
matching.
That's great.
And
that's
so
good.
my first thought was oh shit, this is good.
This is good.
And then she's like, well, what do I tell them? And it's and then I construct the whole thing of the response and the thing. And it really boils down to, well, we don't want to send one of our guys out that's on a schedule, on a time, basically on a time frame limit. And we also don't want to send him on a job bigger than what he thinks he's going to get, or bigger than what he thinks he's showing up for, which in turn means he's earning less for the thing that he's doing. So having the ability to construct that narrative and then give it to the assistant to then
now have a process instead of just a nice little idea that lives in your head.
Also just to be shocked that oh shit, they're actually checking up on stuff. I was I felt better about that because it was Swiss cheese, not by design, but just kind of out of necessity, because my original philosophy was always, if it's not on fire, then I don't care, because if it's on fire, we'll put it out and we'll figure out why it caught on fire if we can.
Right.
And then we're just going to,
and now we're going to prevent some fires.
Yeah. And
how
then on to the next thing. But now my thing is okay, where you have the realization that, in very short order, there's a greater than zero chance that I will be the dog that caught the car.
Right.
And it's like, well, what does the dog never thinks it's going to catch the car. So it just keeps, So then it's like, okay, well, what happens if the dog catches the car? And then it's like, okay, well, he better figure out either how to drive or he's going to get thrown.
Yeah.
You know? So a lot of that for me now from November, December will be building out the framework and looking to fill in the gaps where, you know, because one of the other things you have to learn is, in order to scale and to get bigger, what got you here won't get you there.
Correct.
And even though you might know how to do all the different things, if you're lucky, but even if you know how, that doesn't mean you should.
Correct.
And then there will come a time where you can't.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at now.
Absolutely.
I'm on the like, know how, should I, can I? And then it's like, answer those and then now fill in those blanks, which I had never been intentional like that before. And I'd never been in a place where like, I think we're going to go here and I think it's happening, versus I'd always been like, oh shit, I landed here and now there's this thing and we're going to reverse engineer it and build the plane in midair, which is exciting. Don't get me wrong. And it got us this far. But how about you?
Big thing is getting our systems more dialed in. So
we're
LGs, we're deep in it every single day. It's beautiful, and we're getting there.
Kick ass.
All right, brother. You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go.
We're fired up.